At this point, we're probably up to about $20 in tips, I think. But in reality, and here's the other thing, guys, and I talked about this before, and I'll say it again. People who actually support me understand that when you tip $1, it doesn't really help that much, because when you tip $1, PayPal takes 30 to 40 cents out of that. So every dollar tipped, I get like 60 cents. So the difference here is, oh, I want to support Phil tonight, so I'm going to, you know, tip him. I was going to do $5 tips. I'll do a $5 tip because I know they take one fee versus, oh, I'm just going to keep tipping $1 so Phil has to keep saying stupid shit on his stream. And I know he doesn't get much money, but I still get my shout out. You see what I mean? That's what annoys me one of the most, is that tonight was literally a night of most people were just here to troll, and that pisses me off. Because there's really chill streams we have. We have really fun streams to black out that haven't been like this.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with one of our favorites, Mrhuth Stuff, DarkSydePhil. Mid-September talk. It's from September 20th of 2019. I'm going to be watching this blind with you, so I don't actually know what any of this is about, but I would assume money is going to be a factor in this equation for sure. Also, there is talks about possible relationship problems, whatever. He's still coming off of that Jasper situation, which he'll never be able to live down. And I would assume, excuse me, in a lot of ways, that he's really trying to gauge the audience. This is going to be a way of seeing what he can sucker them out of and whatnot. Just give him, he's taking some people's temperatures right now. You guys know that term, you know what I mean. Just to try to gauge and see what people are thinking. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the situation and see what we can make out of it. Hopefully it's worthwhile, but one will never know until he actually gets there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News, always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can count on, a GTG network and productions. You guys all know the slogan. I don't smell no bacon cooking yet. But we're about to get on that. I need to go and pick myself up some SnortBucks though real fast. So I'm going to do that. And I'll see you guys for a second. So you guys can listen to my music choice until then. Yup.
Asked me specifically what went down. Why are
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, took a little longer than I wanted to, but you know, I appreciate your wait. Having a caramel cappuccino with a scoop of vanilla bean ice cream inside of it instead of creamer. So that should be dope. Because, you know, I'm greedy like that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Mrhuth Stuff, DarkSydePhil. Mid-September talks. So from September 20th of 2019. Let's see what the pig has to talk about. Here we go.
Are you late? What's going on? It's another. No worries. People have already asked me specifically what went down. Why are you late? What's going on? It's nothing horrible. It's just personal stuff. You know, combination of me doing stuff with Kat before she went to work, and then I had to call my parents for the week. We had a very long conversation about behind the scenes with my parents about stuff going on. Essentially, it's nothing horrible. It's just, you know, circumstances kind of lined up the way they did. I really needed to take a shower before I came to stream tonight. So I was like, damn, you know, I could jump right on stream, you know, feel disgusting, look like a bum. Or I could take
You already look like a bum. I can only assume what you smell like. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to throw this question out to you because I remember talking to a couple of people behind in like DMs and whatnot about this, just to kind of gauge. I want to know, in all of your own personal opinions, is how much do you think Phil's parents know, or at least Phil's mother, to be honest. How much do you think Phil's mother really knows about his financial situation? Or about his finances in general? Because I find it to be rather egregious that an individual that off Twitch alone can pull $10,000, if not more, a month, would feel the need to ask his mother month in, month out for money. I find it to be absolutely egregious. Fascinating to a degree, but to be rather egregious. That he literally is the man who would, you know how people, you know, say like, oh, he would stab his own mother in the back to get over. Phil's literally that guy. I feel like Phil's the type of individual who would lie to his own mother about a situation while slowly trying to pull her wallet out of her purse with that one free hoof. I feel like he's the type of person to do something like that. So I'd like to kind of gauge that off of you. Thank you to the individuals who I've had a chance to talk to about that as of late. Another thing is about this whole grooming situation when he comes up on stream, right? Which leads back to, why is the camera, or is the webcam, if you will, why is that even a thing? Why is it even needed? He looks like a bum no matter what. And remember, what does he care about taking a shower for these individuals anyway? They're not people. So what does he care? You know what I'm saying? He comes up there looking like a slob day in, day out, which is supposed to sell the idea of how destitute in some ways that he's, you know, how destitute he is, I should say. So, I mean, I thought that was all part of the act. But now all of a sudden, you know, I need to get myself cleaned up, you know what I'm saying, before we come up over here on stream. I don't want you guys looking at me like I'm a bum. You are a bum. You panhandle all day. You panhandle all day. And you're telling me out of all the times in the day you could have had to take a shower, you waited till now to do so? Also, you said that you had to go ahead and run some stuff. You had to run some errands with Catherine before you came and talked to your parents for the month or for the week or whatever about your financial issues, and then you jumped on stream. Why didn't you grab a shower before you and Catherine went off and did whatever you guys needed to do? And it's not like you did anything anything with physical labor. And I doubt that at this time of year in Washington State, it's that hot. You see what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Like, things ain't adding up. Things are not adding up.
Nice shower, and then get ready for a nice relaxing 2-hour night stream tonight. And that's what happened. By the way, I'll say this right up front because some people are talking about it in stream chat. No spoilers from WWE. I did not see any WWE tonight. In fact, I haven't even seen WWE from this week. I have not seen any of the WWE shows. So no spoilers. I know there was a pay-per-view tonight. None of that. Not allowed in the stream chat tonight. No talking about the WWE pay-per-view tonight because spoilers will...
Because what? You're already a week behind. So first off, stop. Don't look at it. The moment you see anything that comes up that you're not familiar with, just turn your head away. You do that when all the racism happens in that Nazi chat of yours. Why is this any different? Why do people have to go to his chat and nerf themselves? It's a Call of Duty reference. But why do they have to downplay their own personal interests for him? Because he was too lazy to watch any WWE this week. Now, the pay-per-view that's going on, and I guess at the same night that this is going on, you know, no big deal. It is what it is. Some of those people may not have seen it. They might have just read the dirt sheets, which is readily available. If you're a wrestling fan, you know what I'm talking about. So that's a thing. But why should they have to nerf any of that for him? And who cares if you find out who wins and who don't? That shit don't bother me. That's like people who tell me the ending of a movie. I don't care. Go ahead. And when I go and see it, I go and see it. If I don't see the movie, then I don't see the movie. Then I don't lose anything either which way. But I don't know. I'm just someone who don't worry about spoilers. I don't give a shit. I'm not that invested in it. I'm not saying that there's a problem if you are. But as for me, myself, I don't give a shit. So with that being said, I'm not going to nerf my comment section or the stream chat if I had one of those. You know, that non-existent stream chat that I make all this detractor money on that Phil keeps bitching about, right? If they want to have that conversation, or if they want to have those talking points, they should be able to have it. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know there are people who don't like the whole spoiler culture type thing, like what Destiny pulled with Game of Thrones and with the, I think it was a Star Wars movie, or was it like Guardians of the Galaxy? I don't know. It was some movie he tried to spoil in Game of Thrones because he thought that shit was funny. It wasn't, by the way, but whatever.
Piss people off, including me, because I didn't see it. Okay. So there you go. No, and the thing is, we were like, "Are you sure you weren't watching the pay-per-view? It just ended." I had no idea. Guys, I've been running around. You'll see. I took a shower. How the hell did I watch the fucking WWE show if I took a shower? Right? It was pretty remarkable if I was able to do that. By the way, I got a new piece of fan art during the break because I was so damn busy. I didn't have a chance to even touch it yet, so it's not on the stream yet. Oh, the lamp is on the wrong setting, by the way. Hold on.
I mean, he said he took a shower, but he looks as slimy and greasy as he usually does. I don't see a difference. Which makes you wonder, is that truly a tragedy in itself? There
we go. Yeah, so I will be adding a new piece of fan art as of tomorrow and getting rid of some of the older fan arts that have been in the pre-stream for quite some time, but I didn't have even a chance. You know, between the streams to do it. I was so damn busy. Excuse me.
You were too busy to change out one piece of artwork for another, which takes, what, 5 minutes? So think about it, ladies and gentlemen. He's so busy that he doesn't even have minutes to spend to change out essentially what is the B-rolls, if you will, on his own streams. Wow.
I don't take my iPad into the shower with me. Well, first of all, my iPad's been broken for like 2 years. But no, I don't take an iPad into the shower with me. It'd probably be a big problem. Okay. By the way, I just want to say this right now, because this is some of the stuff that I was doing between the streams. I was talking to my parents about money and stuff. I just want to tell you guys thank you so very much. And I mean it. Like, you guys help me out so much financially with stuff, and it gets to me because I'm in a really, I'm just terrible. Awful.
So you still fighting? I thought you told your mother about this 10-year plan that you had and everything was going to work out. And then you would get yourself a part-time job. Is it possible that Mommy Burnell was like, you know what? That 10-year plan sounds stupid as shit. And you better get ready to do something in 2020 or 2021. Is that what happened, Phil? Is that what Mommy's starting to curve you to? Is that what she's trying to do? She's trying to wing you off of her financial tit and now be like, you better be a big boy and get ready to get a job? Is that what it is? Because I'm starting to feel like that's what that was. I mean, granted, I think that whole conversation either was non-existent or you just out and out lied about it, which both is a possibility. But I think that's what the real situation is. I think your mom told you she's tired of carrying you and that you really need to start revving up to do something. And since you speak to her every week anyway, I would assume she's realizing that, hey, what are you actually doing to get yourself out of this financial rut? I'm skeptical if you actually talk to your father for any extended period of time. One reason for that is if I was your father, I'd be pretty ashamed of you for various degrees of reasons. But the main thing is that you're still leeching off of your parents and you're 37 years old. And you made as much as your father did, if not more, playing video games, and you did that for a number of years, and somehow you still figured out a way to fuck it up. That right there is something to be a bit shameful of. I'm not saying that he shouldn't love you. You are his son, mistake or not, but you are something to be ashamed of. Just saying. And I wouldn't fault your father if he was ashamed of you. You know what I'm saying? Because every father's supposed to love his son, and every son's supposed to be proud of their father, but yeah, someone in the Burnell household dropped the ball. That's all I'm going to say about that. DSP news.
Financials right now, to the point where it looks like it could take quite a long time. I mean, talking years and years before I ever get back on my feet financially because of stuff that's happened to me. And, you know, it gets to me, or, I'll be honest, like, it makes me depressed. It makes me feel like shit that, you know, My wife's birthday just passed, and we basically couldn't even afford to do anything. And, you know, it's terrible. It sucks. But you guys are the reason.
In actuality, she just needs a better choice of men. That's kind of what the situation is with that. Sometimes people make bad decisions. Doesn't mean just because you've made a bad decision doesn't mean you need to keep doing it. And if she was in a desperate situation, I couldn't fault her that much. But then again, I mean, what could she have really expected out of you anyway? What could she have really expected out of you anyway? I mean, let's be honest, Phil. You lit the world on fire, not in the way that you would have expected or wanted, I'm sure, but you didn't really accomplish much. I know John and Howard gave you a lot of credit and said for what you did, you did quite a bit, and you did gain yourself some success. The problem is with success is anybody can obtain it. There's only a few people. There's only a special group of people, if you will, that can keep it. Anybody can go get it. Anybody can obtain it, but not everybody can keep it. And you are the shining example of that. Circumstance put you there. Hard work, determination, talent, or skill could have kept you there. You had none. Just my opinion, of course.
Why I'm still here. You guys stepped up in this year and were really been helping me out with tips and stuff. And I wouldn't even be where I am now if it weren't for you guys. So I just want to let you know.
This year? You mean the last couple of years?
Thank you so much because
since the beginning. Since 2008, 2009, people were giving you money so you could purchase games and keep hobbling along. Which means this whole nonsense of, oh, I never strive to be popular or to make YouTube a living. I only fell into it. The whole notion that he didn't choose YouTube, YouTube chose him, is false. It's fraudulent. It's fake. It's the delusion. It's the delusions of a man, and I use that term loosely, who was so desperate and believed wholeheartedly that he was better than the people that were on the platform that he got himself fired from his job, possibly, to do it. The moment the opportunity came in to make money off playthroughs, all of a sudden he loses his job, and now he's doing this full time. Something to think about.
If it weren't for you guys, what the hell? They changed the way the marketplace looks. Look at that. If it weren't for you guys,
yeah, Phil, because some people don't believe in staying the same and stagnant. Every once in a while, it's good to shake shit up. Every once in a while, if not almost all the time, it's good to grow, as not only as a person but as a content creator. It's kind of what normal people do.
I don't even know what would have happened. This year I might have lost my house, and I just want you to understand that.
It's one thing, ladies and gentlemen, to have a winning formula, if you will, right? Something that brings you a lot of money or a lot of success. But would you rather have a winning formula that works for you once, or would you rather have a winning formula that can be constantly tweaked, that can be constantly built upon, that lasts for years? Just saying.
Honestly, significantly helped me in my life and has allowed me to continue to do what I love, to have a good life with my wife, even though, my credit is going to be ruined and I don't know what's going to happen in the future. At least for the very now, for the present, things are passable. But, there's just so many things going on behind the scenes.
I don't know. It sounded like things were good. He was about to say things were good, but then all of a sudden it's passable. He's done that before.
Financially with me, that, taxes and other payments and things, just crazy things going on that they get to me in the back of my mind. They fuck with my head. They make me feel like shit. And
I thought that was the depression. I'm so confused now.
It's good to be able to come to stream and kind of escape that and not have to worry about that stuff. And then you guys are positive and you support me and we have great streams. We interact, we have fun, and it cheers me up. It does. I just had a break where I was in the middle of doing a million personal things that sucked, that got me late to the stream, and now I'm going to be able to relax with you guys for a couple hours, which is pretty awesome. So thank you for that. Jackal McGocklin tipped me $1 and says, why do you say people are sensitive over racist jokes that you get upset when people joke about your gout? Because racist jokes are silly if you do them in a general fashion. And what I mean by that is, you can say, oh, what's he playing with my wire? He's playing with a wire here. When you make a joke that's a racial generalization about a race, so, say something about the Italian race or the Chinese or, something like that, okay? It's usually meant to be a generalization. You're not directing that towards one person. It's not meant necessarily to be malicious. It's meant more to be like observational comedy of something in general.
Wait, so because you're not directing it towards one person, that should make it less offensive? No, because you're not directing it towards one person, it should be less offensive to call all of you guys thieves, or all of you guys swindlers, or all of you guys crooks, or whatever, whatever you want to use, than if you targeted one person in particular. How does... What? So, what? Okay, so... so if I shit it on a group of people, that's funny. But if I shit it on one person, that's bad. Have you been reading, like, Mein Kampf or something? What's going on with this, Phil? I don't get... Where's your logic behind that? Exactly. You do realize that multiple groups of people have been, like, persecuted, right? And are made fun of and are just ridiculous things every day. And there's nothing funny about it, whether you're going after one person or a group of people. Then again, you are somebody, though, who calls not only an individual person, but multiple people mentally ill. And you've also gone out of your way to say multiple times that you wish you could control mentally ill people. That's pretty funny because that sounds like something Richard Spencer would say. I know you don't know who that is, Phil, but your philosophies aren't too far off. Not too far off, I should say. I mean, I don't think you know what a white ethno-state is, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Joke. Now, admittedly, people can get angry and get insulted or get touchy about it, and you have to be careful because some people just don't have thick skin and they don't like to have their culture.
Oh, so I can go ahead and say that all black people are criminals, or, oh, black guy, oh, he might be reaching for something, could be a gun, we should shoot him. And that's not, that's being too touchy. That's being too much of an issue. That's a thing, right? Wait a second, didn't you say that Jews were too entitled at one time or another? And Mexicans and Chinese and shit? You said that once, didn't you? Wasn't that there? I mean, too touchy, especially in our current climate, some shit like that would almost label you as anti-Semitic. Not saying that you are anti-Semitic or anything. I'm just saying that some people, those people who are too touchy and whatnot, might be able to fill in the lines with stuff like that. Huh. But how was any of... Okay, I'm kind of going off of the beaten path here a little bit. Are you really going to try to push the narrative that talking about your gout or nasal drip or whatever is more offensive than actual racism? You wouldn't do something stupid like that. I mean, you are stupid. Doesn't imply that everything you do is stupid, because that would be making assumptions. That might be me getting uppity. But let's see how this plays out.
Or dragged through the mud or even joked about. So everyone's different, okay? It's a subjective thing. For me, I could care less. You can say whatever you want about my culture. Everyone knows I'm a quarter Polish, I'm a quarter Italian, and people joke about it all the time. And I don't really give a shit what people say about it, okay? But so...
Listen, you said you're a quarter Italian and a quarter Polish, so what's the other 50%? Is that where your gout and your nasal drip comes into play? I'm just trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I'm trying as best I can. Because I'm very much confused about this situation right now. Your narrative is very, very... It's not very well thought out. But then again, what would I expect from some no-life Let's Player?
People are sensitive. Now, when you bring up a medical condition that I have, that is something that is hereditary. I can't help that I have it. I had to significantly change my lifestyle, and now I can't eat things that I used to like to eat. I can't do things that I used to like to do because I have a medical condition that could make my joints swell up and cause me excruciating pain, and it's not my fault. That's kind of...
It isn't your fault. No one told you to eat all that food and not exercise, dumbass. On top of that, it is funny because you have a series called DSP Tries It, where you sat there and you ate all of that greasy food. We saw you catch gout. We watched you for years catch gout. Kind of like how with Amberlynn Reed, for any of you guys who follow her, people are slowly watching her die. When you watch one of her, what's that, a mukbang? One of the two. When you watch her do these eating videos, I guess if you will. I'm pretty sure it's called a mukbang, though. Or a mukbang, whatever. When you watch her do that, you're watching someone slowly kill themselves. Whose fault is it that that's going on? Is it our fault for watching her do it? Or is it Amber's fault for broadcasting it even though she was going to eat the food anyway? That's no different than with you. You have gout, not because it was hereditary and you inherited it. You sat there and actively contributed to yourself getting it. You sought it out. That's how you caught gout. Nasal drip or postnasal drip or whatever, I think it's merely just your allergies. I don't think you have nasal drip. I think it's a coping mechanism. I think that's what that is. Because if that was the case, he wouldn't be able to control when he has it and when he doesn't, and he would just do it constantly. You look at earlier videos, you don't hear it. It's not that pronounced. He says it's because of soundproofing and everything, and his audio quality went up. But let's be frank with each other, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard how deep that snort is. And at least in the time that I've watched Detractor content, which is my introduction to Phil, it's only gotten deeper and deeper and deeper as the years go on. He's going to have respiratory problems later on down the line. And that's going to be because of his own doing with that as well. That's just my own personal opinion. My own personal opinion. But either which way, your snorting is annoying. So people pick at it so they can deal with it. You having gout is fucking hilarious. It is hilarious that you have gout. What makes it hilarious, though, right, is the fact that you actively participated in getting it. That's what it is. And then you're so petty. You're so pathetic of a person that you blamed everybody else under the sun other than yourself and your own actions for having it. Oh, if I had known that my aunt had gout, or the story is not, multiple people in this family has gout? Whatever. If he knew his aunt had gout, or if she had been proactive and told everybody she had gout, I wouldn't have done what I did, and I wouldn't have caught gout myself. But, Phil, didn't you also say some stupid shit like, oh, if John and Howard had told me that I was being such an asshole and being inconsiderate, I would have fixed it? Why do people have to tell you things? Why can't you just read the room? Why is it that you have to live your life only giving a shit about self, but everybody else needs to think about you? How about that? Just a question, though. TSP News.
Fucked up. Okay, you take a jab at a heritage or whatever, big deal. Take a jab at a medical condition that I'm suffering from that causes significant pain and suffering and is really a pain in my ass, and you're doing it to use it as a way means to insult.
So shit on everybody who's not Italian and not Polish, but don't shit on my medical conditions that, for the most part, was self-inflicted. For the most part. Gotcha. I get it now, Phil.
That's fucked up. All the time, people make fun of people with disabilities. That's fucked up. A sickness, a disability, things like that, that's ridiculous. Just like if you're going to insult someone personally.
How many people have you made fun of because of being sick or because of disabilities? Matter of fact, what was the name of that one kid that he had up there during one of his playthroughs? I can't remember if it was Apex Legends or whatnot. And he's a little scatterbrainish, and not all of his dialogue was coherent. And he was talking about trolls and haters, and so I was like, I can't remember if he talked about a little bit of a slur or if it was a minor delay. I can't remember. But I got what he was saying. I understood the gist of what he was saying. And Phil was sitting there making funny faces while the other two ass clowns were laughing at this kid. What about then? And he's in a situation that he can't help He can't help how he got there, whether he was born that way or some childhood accident or whatever. He can't help that, and he's stuck dealing with it. But you guys had no problem with having a laugh at his expense. But now you want to sit here and use race as your curtain to say it's okay to make fun of all these different people and whatnot because we're all different, right? It's cool to do that, but don't make fun of shit when it pertains to me and my personal ailments. What kind of fucking nonsense is this? Well, let's continue. I'm sure it gets better.
Because of their race, that's different than making a general joke about race, in my opinion, okay? Now, this is all me. You could completely disagree. That's fine if you do. But I'm just saying, you know, you make a general joke about race, I think that's okay. I'm not going to take offense, versus if you personally go out of your way to insult me and say something about
But see, the thing is, you're not loyal to anything except for yourself and money, which is the things that people poke at you the most. So, yeah, making fun of his Italian heritage doesn't make shit. You've seen the Kool-Aid pasta sauce. You know what that's about. I doubt he knows anything about his Polish heritage, and if nothing else, I'm one of the major proponents who believe that he's actually ashamed of it. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he don't have too much to say about his Polish heritage. And since he's only a quarter Italian and a quarter I almost called him a quarter pork. Since he's only a quarter Italian and a quarter Polish, my real question is, what's the other half? That's my real question. Is that where you are a quarter pig and then a quarter roach? Or how does that, I don't understand. Does your, like I said, does your nasal drip and then the gout, do they take up those other 2 quarters to make the half? I'm so good. I just want some clarification. I just want to understand the situation that I'm in before I go out here and start spreading this propaganda, right? That's so, uninformed. Because there's already one of us doing that already. There's no need for both of us to do it. At least not all the time, anyway.
That I can't help, like I have an illness, right? Some people make fun of me because of my post-nasal drip that I can't help. I've been to doctors for it over my life, and there's nothing you could do to treat it. It's just messed up that it exists. And I have to snort or clear my throat or do weird things that other people don't have to do because I have post-nasal drip. Is it funny to make fun of that? No, it's mean. It's demeaning because I don't want to have it.
It's mean and demeaning? This is coming from the same idiot who jumped on a guy who had an opinion, keyword, just like his situation with race, had an opinion about a game, and Phil threatened violence on him. This is coming from the same guy who once, during a Mortal Kombat match or something, Injustice, it was one of those things, someone asked him about a situation that happened 2 years prior, and Phil directed people to harass that guy. Or, sorry, in his words, lambast that guy. But making fun of Phil and his gout is mean? Phil, I hope no one comes to your defense. I really hope no one does. I'm sure someone will. But I would really hope that they don't. I would really hope they don't. But they will. It's human nature to do that. I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with being weak. But if you go out your way to be weak, so you can be protected, there's a problem with that. And that's exactly what Phil Burnell is.
It's not something I enjoy having. I didn't choose to fucking have it, and now I gotta suffer with it for the rest of my life, but you're gonna make fun of me for it, right? It's fucked up. It's little petty shit from immature people. PKD tipped me $1. He says, gout is totally controllable and caused by personal dietary choices. Wrong. It's a hereditary disease that's determined by acid levels in the body. Some people just genetically have more acid in their body, and yes, you're right. Actually adjusting your diet to have less...
Wait, how did you going to say the guy's wrong and now all of a sudden he's right? You got to pick, Phil. We've had this conversation before. That's all right. I'm going to talk to Kat later on tonight anyway, so I'll make sure I pass the message through her.
Things that create acid in your body would prevent outbreaks of it or flare-ups of it, but I have it because of my genetics. I don't have it because I was eating 40 pounds of red meat a day. You know what I mean? When I found out I had it, I freaked out because I was like, why do I have this? Why would I have it? Typically, people who have gout actually are like either really fat or just have incredibly unhealthy lifestyles. You know, we're talking like they drink.
Yeah, you had a pretty, well, you're not exactly in the peak of physical conditioning. And you had, and still kind of have, a shitty lifestyle. So yeah, kind of makes sense. You remember that whole sedentary lifestyle, I don't move a whole lot? You never really have been one to move a lot. You remember how winded you were during that Project 7 filming when you had to run across that not even a yard, I guess field of grass, if you will? You remember that? You looked like you were breathing pretty hard on that steady trot. So yeah, you've never been in good shape. I'm pretty confident. You were either really, really scrawny and skinny, or you were fat. Not boogie fat, not wings fat, but you were kind of fat. You were certainly out of shape, no matter what. Just throwing it out there.
Ton. They eat red meat constantly, every day, without any control over their diet. You know, that's the kind of people who overweight, really unhealthy people are the kind of people who get it. My aunt, who had it, was overweight. So no surprise that, you know, she had it and she had flare-ups and stuff. So for someone like me, who's considered...
Now, despite the whole race thing, it's really disgusting to blame the dead for the fault of the living. To some degree. That's really, really disgusting shit. Especially, well, I'll say especially in a situation like this, because that shit is subjective. But this is really disgusting. That we have to blame a dead aunt for our own faults. Grown-ass man made a whole lot of money in his life, didn't save none of it, did what he wanted, it catches gout right around the time he's allegedly broke, and now we got to blame dead people for our faults. The more you know.
Now, I mean, am I overweight? Yes, a little bit, but I'm not like, bro, giant, grossly obese. For someone like me to have it is odd. In fact, that's what the doctor said to me when I went to see the doctor.
Wait,
like,
first you said that the classification was being unhealthy and overweight. Now you're saying that I am overweight, but I'm not obese. You got to pick one, Phil. You see how he keeps pushing the goalpost back further and further and further to make his narrative because he doesn't know how to stay on course? Don't get me wrong, I get ranty and I go off the deep end too. But then again, I'm not having to defend myself because of actions that because of actions that I'm crying on the internet about because people are being mean by making fun of me because I do stupid shit. That's the thing. Like, this is subterfuge. This is pointless, to be honest. And yet again, excuse me, still not taking really any personal responsibility outside of blaming my dead aunt. Wow.
Does it run in your family? At that point, I didn't even know that it did. And I said, I have no idea, not to my knowledge. She's like, it's very odd for someone like you to have this. So you're going to have to make adjustments right away. So, anyway, that's the deal. And you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Unlimited frogging.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, despite the fact that you just said that he was right. You said he was wrong. Then you said he was right. Now he's wrong again. Because you gave some half-ass explanation that doesn't mean nothing to anybody. And only furthers your own perpetual cloud of ignorance. Amazing. Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine you living in a fog of delusion where you truly believe that every misstep that you've made, everything negative that's happened to you, everything... every step that you've ever taken, every negative thing you've ever said about someone was never really your fault. It was somebody else's fault. Imagine living in that cloud of what's the word of it? Lack of accountability, if you will. Imagine living like that. And thinking it's okay. Because he has too many goddamn enablers. That's what that is. We call them cult members and shit like that. But over there on like Amber Lynn's side of it, they call them enablers. It's the same shit. That's really what it is. It's too many brain dead idiots who believe in them.
Cheered. 50 bits says, you seemed down in the dumpster in the pre-stream. As soon as Jasper entered the room, you really lightened up. Jasper must have been such a positive influence on you and Kat during these tough times. He really is. You guys seriously have no idea. Like,
really? $2,100 I think is a pretty good indication of that. That's my personal opinion, of course. I wouldn't know. I don't feel the need to exploit my pets for personal gain, but, you know, whatever.
I told you guys, like, I was in serious jeopardy of losing my house in the last year. I thought I was going to have to leave here. And
so Jasper saved your house? Well, that's new to me. That's new to me.
Out and lose the place that I worked my ass off my whole life to earn. And I thought that Kat and I were going to have to go get some kind of a small shitty apartment where my street...
Wait, you said you worked your whole life to get that house, but you fell into this YouTube thing fell into your lap. You see yet again the discrepancies? I mean, really, it's just me nitpicking, but it's still a discrepancy either which way. Silly shit.
Quality was going to dip and be terrible and not have good internet. And I basically thought that, like, we were just starting our life together and that things were going to fall apart. And having him here, some days just him kind of playing around and messing around and being a sweet cat made us feel so much better. You know, especially with all the stuff going on behind the scenes with taxes and everything in the last year that really screwed with me in my head. And it helped out a ton. It really did. So... Polish Frog says, are kids out of the question because of my financial situation, or is it something you wouldn't want to do regardless? I would say both. Like, number one, all right, number one, there's absolutely no way I could have kids. I can't afford it. I wouldn't be able to raise a kid. And without basically trying to qualify for a ridiculous amount of, like, government assistance and stuff, there's no way I could ever raise a kid. And with the amount of money that I make, despite the fact that I have a ton of debt in my name and it's not disposable income, but the amount of money that I make, I wouldn't qualify for any government programs to raise a kid. Okay? So it's kind of out of the question regardless what I think. Now, as for my personal feelings, I feel that if I was going to be a father, I would have been much earlier in my life, maybe like, you know, anywhere between 5 to 10 years ago. That would have been the perfect time for it.
Why? You didn't have a lot of patience then. You had little to no patience then, at least from some of the old shit that I've gone over. You have even less now, to be honest. So, I mean, that wouldn't have helped either. Unless, ladies and gentlemen, you were planning on dumping your kids onto your parents anyway to have them raise them. Then, maybe I could see how that would work out for you. Was that what it was, Phil? Is that what the plan was? You didn't mind having your kids grow up in the middle of the ghetto? I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't know how, even though people still pull this off, I don't know how I could be like 60, 70 years old and be having a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now I'm 37. If I were to have a kid today, in 20 years when he's 20 and just starting off on their own, I'd be, you know, hitting 60, retirement age, right?
Phil, there's people like 60, 65 that are in better shape than you. I mean, they're literally in better shape than you. So, yeah, it's not a matter of, you know, could they pull it off. It's they took the steps needed. They exercise, they eat well, they live life. They don't just live shut in into a spare bedroom that they have the nerve to call an office or a studio and play games poorly for the internet. They actually have something to contribute to society, not you. But then again, I'm of the argument, as of late, that you do contribute to society, Phil. You are a laughingstock. You're someone who consistently allows people... You give people a good laugh, and it's at your own expense. And you're so stupid that you can't figure out a way to monetize it. You can't figure out a way to benefit from your own ignorance. And that's amazing. It's absolutely amazing that for one of the most ignorant people I think I've ever seen, and all these different people around you profit from you, you yourself have not figured out a way to do it at all. You think what you put out now is value, and everything that the detractors, haters, and trolls do, and critics, is devaluing you. When in actuality, you're devaluing yourself. And so someone else has to step in with the foresight, with the talent, with the charisma, with all the different things that goes into doing whatever it is people like myself kind of do. Well, who do better than me anyway, and whatnot. And they can make things happen, and you can't. That's amazing. And it's rather extraordinary. So in some ways, you do contribute to society. In a small way, but you do. I'd like to think that if people get a laugh out of these videos, or out of like Agent Propers, or Snort Burnells, or James the Lessers, or Mighty D's, or Tevins, or LSBs, or anybody really, that right there was you in some small way contributing. Even though that was never your intention, and it was at your deficit. But it's your fault that it was at your deficit. It was your fault that it's at your expense. Because you believe you're more than what you are. So you deserve what you get. Dspnews?
When that kid is off, ready to start a family, I'd be about to die. You know? So I think it'd be like, I kind of missed the boat on that. I would have had...
That's interesting, because aren't your parents... Your parents are in their 60s, aren't they? Wait a second. Yeah, your parents are in their 60s, aren't they? And you're 37. So, I mean, nah, your parents still had you at a reasonable age, to be honest. But that's not even really the point. The point is that your parents are still alive and still kicking. So, it wouldn't be completely out of the question that you would live at least until you got into your 30s. I mean, you would have to make real changes and really see a doctor and really have to do stuff. But it's very possible you could still do so. But see, then Phil, and this is the thing that people never bring up, but I'll do it now. Because someone has to. It's because you don't want to have to live for somebody else. You just want to live for yourself. That's his real reason for not wanting to have children, having a family, not wanting to be burdened with the obligation of somebody else. He wants to live for himself. He doesn't want to have to continue living and or existing for somebody else's benefit. That's what it really comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the real skinny is. He can go ahead and throw all these different deflections at you, which is the reason why he throws all these different deflections at you. But that's the truth. Dspnews.
To be younger, even though I agree with you guys that actually a lot of people are having kids much later in their lives now. That's kind of a thing, a running trend in the United States in particular. I think I kind of missed the boat. And quite frankly, and this is just me being very honest, I never really had a time in my life where I had like a big desire to have kids. Some people do. Some people, they have this like, man, I can't wait. One day I want to have my kid of my own and I want to raise them to be a, have a family and they can pass on my legacy and all that. I've never really had that desire ever in my life. Never. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have. I said for whatever reason, it just never happened to me. I never felt, man, I want to be a father and so have someone that I can raise or whatever. Now, maybe I hate to say, I don't want to hate to say this, but maybe to some extent that has to do with the fact that I have an internet presence. So bear with me for a minute here. Maybe because every day I get to talk with you guys publicly and share my opinions and let you know about stuff in my life and give you life experience stories and try to give you guys good advice based on mistakes and things that I've made in my life. Maybe I kind of feel somewhere in the back of my head that like I have helped people and passed on the knowledge that I have through my daily streams and through these videos that are immortalized forever on the internet. And because of that, maybe I don't worry about, man, I need to have a kid so I can pass all that knowledge on because I already have. Okay.
Oh, no. First things first. Oh, shit. I look at all of you guys as children. That's the reason why I don't need my own children. Oh, that's so pathetic. Okay. Oh, no. He didn't really say that. Oh, wheelchair symbols all around on that one. Okay. All right, let's get it together. Let's get it together. Okay. First things first. Oh, because I have an internet presence. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a man who has said before on record that if it wasn't for YouTube, he felt that his life wouldn't have had any meaning. And he only found his true, air quotes, calling when he started doing YouTube. That debunks the first part of his bullshit. Let's continue. Second part. Because of internet presence, I raised all of you, so I've already passed on my know-how, knowledge, and so on and so forth. Phil, how many of these people who have followed you and are the recipients of your legacy have gone on Twitter and gone on other different profiles to spaz out, only for reality to slap them, and then all of a sudden they're no longer over there with you. They don't support you. They've moved on and hopefully smarten up. No, Phil. You have never given anything to anybody that was initially worthwhile unless it was at your own deficit. And even with that, I question if anything that you've been directly associated with has any type of value, to be honest with you. And if you must have never really taken a real close look at your fan base. I have, and nah. You may have been the worst thing, you may have been the worst thing that happened to some of those people. You really have. The negative impact that you've had on fans and some detractors is rather amazing. Phil, you do realize that there were detractors at one time, and some of them still do. I don't blame them. That usually have to drink a little bit to just deal with your bullshit or delve into the herbage. It's a thing. You do realize that, right? Like, too much of DSP sober is probably just not a good thing for anybody. You do realize that, right? You do realize that you're someone who you were never famous. You're infamous. And because you're infamous, you can sit here and make all these complaints and no one takes you seriously. And because of that, you only prove that your detractors, trolls, haters, and critics are just that much more powerful. Despite the fact that you've had people deplatformed, you've deplatformed yourself too. Your own ignorance have had you kicked off of platforms, kicked you out of programs, and so on and so forth. That shit is amazing. So for all of your failures, that's truly what you have passed down to those kids, if you will, who, some of them anyway, who follow you. Look at LSBGaming. Sitting there taking a shit, then sending pictures of it to detractors on Twitter. That's some pretty stable type shit there, for example, and whatnot. But that's okay though. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I'm all about my milk and cookies, and she's happy, I'm happy, and that's all that really matters with that. But so Seidel is not really an example of that. What about Swaggins? I mean, Jesus Christ. He spent all that money to try to take Brightside Vikings' place just to be beheaded publicly and then crawl back, which is another thing. It's funny, Phil, that you have shown the type of behavior that you want to talk big, you want to talk like you know what the fuck you're doing, and you're quick to go ahead and act like you're going to stomp off into the sunset as a bluff. But then when things don't work out, you have to come back on your hands and knees crawling. It's ironic that you have people in your fan base who you've mistreated, and they all came back on their hands and knees begging too. It's almost as if you're an extremely pathetic and volatile individual, at least emotionally volatile, and you've passed those same traits on to people who have that same disposition to do the same, and so they have, and most of them don't even realize it. That's the crazy part. That's the silly shit. You're a fucking sociopath, and all you've done is bred or help raise other individuals who had the disposition to be sociopaths themselves. And so it's just a constant circle. Now that I think about it, and this is some, like, I'm going to need a little bit of verification on this, but wasn't Alex also on Twitter, like, trying to holler at 16 and 17-year-olds and shit? And Alex is what, in his mid-20s? Like early mid-20s? Which leads to another thing, Phil. How old were you when you were talking to Panda? Not when you guys dated. I don't care about that. It's fair to say that you probably didn't start dating her till she was 18. And you probably weren't giving her, you know. But then again, you stopped giving her the in and out after you guys left Connecticut. And so what was that? I mean, you dated her for what, 2 or 3 years maybe? Before your sex drive completely crapped out on you, and then you guys moved to Washington. But how old were you when you started talking to her? I would assume you were talking to her before she was 7 or before she was 18. But then again, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, would show a pattern. You know, what these people who follow him, who he has raised, had inherited. So that explains why Sidella was hollering at chicks that were underage on Twitter. It all makes sense now. It completely closes the loop. I'm sure someone saw that. I know there's at least DSP archives, if not LipJan, if not probably a few others, probably have that tweet somewhere. You might have to dig deep for it. But I do distinctly remember Sidella getting called out for that shit. The more you know.
Maybe I'm completely off base here, right? But maybe there's some people out there who they don't have a following like me. They don't have an internet presence. So they feel like the only way they're ever going to be remembered, or the only way that they're ever going to have anything that they've learned in their life pass on to be a useful experience for someone else, is if they have a kid to pass it on to, right? I'm not in that situation whatsoever. So, and no,
wait,
I'm not.
So having an internet presence by default means that you have meaning in your life compared to someone who has a 9-to-5 or whatever the case may be, who gets up every day, works a job or works a career, comes home, puts food on their family's table, puts clothes on their kids' backs, help their kids with homework, gives them everything that not only that they could want, but certainly always gives them everything that they need. But none of that is as meaningful as having an internet presence. Is that pretty much what he was trying to imply? That's insane. I'll make sure that when little GTG is old enough, I'm gonna make sure that he knows that. I'm gonna have to keep this for posterity, because this shit's gonna be funny.
I'm not calling you my kids. What I'm saying is, you are the people who, on a daily basis, I interact with and pass my knowledge on to. So I kind of have that thing already, where it's not like I don't feel like my life is being wasted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like my life is going to waste, or that things that I've learned are not going
to... I don't feel the need to raise my own because I've already raised you. Whatever. What does Catherine think about that situation? What does Catherine think about not having a child to pass on whatever it is that she has to pass on, and watch them grow up and watch them go through their triumphs and, sadly, some of their setbacks or whatnot? How does she feel about all that, Phil? I mean, like you said, you don't have to worry about all that because you have a social presence and you've raised all these kids. But what about Catherine, though? What about her natural motherly instinct? And why would you deprive her of that experience just because you already have some pseudo experience of it? That's very strange, ladies and gentlemen. Very strange indeed.
be used, because I kind of share that stuff with you guys. It's amazing to say that, because a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people go their whole lives without anyone to really talk to or share stuff with, and that's really sad. But that's not my situation. I'm very lucky. Very, very lucky to have what I have on the internet. Okay? I know that. By the way, I think I might have enough cobblestone. I think this might be enough. YouTube Mode Cheer just said, do you ever feel like you get cabin fever from being stuck in your house all the time? I would get bored. No. Absolutely not. I'm not even kidding. Like, I get to go out one whole day a week with Kat and do fun stuff. And also run errands and other shit. It's a combination of stuff that we really do.
Wait, I go out I go out one day with my wife and I get to do fun stuff. Well, we have to run errands. We really run errands. Now it's a combination of the two. He has told us multiple times that he spends his whole day on his feet, rushing around, having to fulfill these obligations. But now we have time for fun stuff. Wait, I'm sorry. Now we have time for fun stuff and errands. It's a combination of both. It sounds like more bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. And wait a second. Why would he need to run errands, right, on this one day off when he spends hours a week paying bills? Yes, I said that right. You heard that right. He spends hours each and every week paying bills. He said that before. Plenty of times over pre-streams. Huh. Okay. Sure.
But just being with her is fun. I really don't get cabin fever at all. I seriously don't. I like my life. I love the things I get to do with my wife. I love my pet. I love the house I live in. You know, everything. I'm happy with it. That's right, M5NSX. Every day also, I get tons of human interaction with you guys because I talk to you all day. It's not like it used to be when I lived in Connecticut, in the condo in Connecticut, where I sat around by myself talking to myself all freaking day. Yeah, I'll be very honest with you guys. I enjoyed playing the games. I loved kind of doing the on-the-fly, trying to make joke comic style commentary. But yeah, that could get a lot of played out. And yes, there were times when I was either bored or I felt like I was burnt out. I don't feel that live streaming anymore. I don't, because every live stream I get to interact with you guys. I don't know what's going to happen on every stream. You could have a new topic, a new situation, something interesting going on. And on the fly, we adjust our topics. We talk.
That's funny because you drank a lot back then, and you still drink a lot now. And some people argue that in some small way, you might have been more entertaining back then than you are now. I'm so confused. I mean, granted, you were a drunk then. Let's be honest. A lot of those playthroughs, you were drunk. Like, for example, when you sent those guys to harass the guy I talked about earlier. You remember the guy who asked you about the Kingdom Hearts situation with Panda. And you were kind of slurring your words there because you were drunk. And that's the reason why you jumped on him the way you did. And then you had to be a bitch and turn around the next day and apologize. But you never even actually apologized to him. You apologized about the situation, which is even more ironic because it would lead one to believe that the only reason why you apologize is because someone made you apologize. Because Patreon was pretty important back in those days and you couldn't really afford to lose that. On top of the fact that Machinima was still in play. I have to find the Tevin video.
So it's way different doing this than when I was just sitting at home doing YouTube all the time back in the day, and I really love doing it this way. So and there you go, Baldy just said exactly the same thing. I agree. I very much enjoyed from 2011 to 2014? Well, it was 2013 when I first started streaming, but if you remember, a lot of times I was ignoring the stream chat completely. It really wasn't until 2017 when I made the streaming part of my content. So really 2011, when I started doing this for a living, all the way through, early 2017, so 6 years that I did this, that it was a solo, me just having to do the constant on-the-fly commentary, the constant jokes, how would I do that in Minecraft right now? Oh, look, sheepy in the distance, ha ha ha, look, rain. You can't do that all the time. Yes, when fun stuff happens in the game, it's funny to do commentary on it, but you can't constantly be talking about the game all the time, and that's the thing, that's what I had to do. I would constantly have to make fun of the game, and half the time when I played a game like this, people would complain that it was boring. Now I can do interactive fun streams like this, very interactive, and, this isn't boring to me. This is fun. So, I like that. That's right, Dacky Swift. The chill streams are basically pure interaction. He says you do so much more interaction than before. Yeah, this is pure interaction with my audience. Even though, yes, we're doing cool stuff in Minecraft together. Look at the world I've built in the 9 months that I played it. In reality,
you played 9. I forgot that you played that long, and this is all you've accomplished. And this is supposed to be interaction by seeing you fishing at night. What? Okay. Sure, whatever. A win's a win, right? Fourth place at Evo, #1 ranked Super Turbo player, American Super Turbo player, American ranked Super Turbo player. Sure, whatever. Take a W. Take a W wherever you can get it, I guess. Jesus Christ.
The meat of what we've done is interactions on the streams, and that's cool. That not only while I was playing the game and doing cool stuff, we had a lot of fun social interactions. So it's hard to have cabin fever when you're constantly having interaction and different things are happening every day. I'm a variety streamer. I'm not playing the same game every day, so I'm not bored of the games. We have fun interactions, so I'm not bored of that. See what I mean? It's kind of the opposite of what I was doing on YouTube.
But you're still generally missing the point because look at how you conduct yourself in IRL. Like, you go out once a week. You don't go out with anybody else except for Kat. You're too scared to go out on your own. She's probably doing the majority of driving. And you try to pack in a week's worth of exercise into one day. And you're paranoid as shit that someone's going to notice you and or walk up on you. That's kind of the point, Phil. Like, what you do negatively affects you in ways that you don't even see. Wow. All right.
Polish Frog, I absolutely look forward to the chill streams after a stressful day. As I told you at this very pre-stream, before this...
Now, before I call him out on his bullshit, he did get $100... He did get a $100 tip, which makes the tip goal... well, the tip goal was $100, and he's at 134. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's pretty happy. Now, the thing is, if we took away that one, and it was only $34, would he say that exact same thing? Or would he say, yeah, I enjoy the chill streams, guys, but, contributions have been really low and everything, but I still get the interaction with you guys, so that makes it all worthwhile. Or would you hear that nonsense? Think about it.
This session started. I've been incredibly stressed recently because of stuff behind the scenes, and I was late to stream tonight because of stuff that was stressing me out. Since I jumped on the stream and started interacting with you guys, and Jasper came in, and that was fun. I feel so much better. I seriously feel so much better doing this.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is literally superficial band-aids on literally a gaping wound that's starting to become infected, and that part of the body is gonna have to get amputated. That's literally what this is. He's literally trying to throw band-aids on shit just to get it to stick. That's all this is. That's why you have a stream goal every stream, day by day by day. That's the reason why he streams 6 days a week and then spurges all of their winnings, if you will, at the end of the week. This is what he believes life is. He thinks just because he works 6 days a week that this is actually work, and he deserves the praise of anybody else who does it in real life and gets no praise for anything. But he should get patted on the back. He should be acknowledged for doing what everybody else does. Like, getting up every morning, going to work, paying your bills, taking care of your family and or pets, whatever the case may be. Being just a responsible fucking individual. Scary stuff. Just really scary stuff, man, to have that type of mindset.
I felt like shit, and I came to stream and I feel good now. So thank you guys for that. Give a shout out to Derek. Tip me $1. Oh my god. He goes, well, aren't you terrified you're going to meet your ex randomly as you go through life and you cruise your own city? No, who cares? Who cares if I ever run into my ex? I have nothing to say to her. She has nothing to say to me. There's no reason for us to even interact. Who could give a shit if we ran into each other? Why is that a big deal? Why should I be afraid of running into my ex? That's a ludicrous statement.
Because you're going to be very, very upset on how happy she is. Let me reword that. You're going to be discouraged and certainly very upset with how happy her life has been without you than probably all the time she ever was with you. That's what bothers you. And I think that's one of the reasons why he doesn't go out. He only goes out once a week. He literally has maximized his situation to the point where he limits let's word this out. Let me reword that. He limits as best as possible any type of opportunity of running into her or anybody else that he knows or who might even know him. That's why everything is reduced to one day. And that's why the days off at times is usually on different days. Usually. Certainly as of late, they're during the week. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, for the most part. And that's why he won't go out by himself. And when he was alone, before Catherine actually moved there, anything that he had to do, he only did that stuff at night. You would never catch Phil saying he has to take off a day stream to go out and run errands or pay bills or do any of those things. Because there were no errands to run. That doesn't exist. And he wouldn't do anything by himself. If he had to go and get his hair cut or go grocery shopping, it was at night. He was too scared to go out during the day. He was afraid to go out during the day, which is weird because he can barely see and he don't wear his glasses. So why would he want to go driving out at night anyway? Very strange. And anytime during that period between Panda leaving him and Catherine finally moving in, that he did miss a day stream, it was because he was drunk. He was drunk off his fucking ass, and he couldn't get up and he couldn't function. That's why streams would be, if they would either be late or they would only be an evening stream. Same concept. And I think most of the time, if he was going to be late, he would just be like, no day stream, there'll be a stream later on in the day. Something to think about.
Then Omnipotent Froggins cheers. I noticed pretty much none of your music remixes are from the modern era. Maybe you could hold a remix competition where fans can make new remixes and vote on the best ones. It would be great to finally get that. The hitboxes are not correct remix. I would love new remixes, but no, you're right. No one puts time and effort into them anymore. It's not. That's not a new thing.
No one puts time and effort into anything that I can profit from. That's hurtful, Phil. That's hurtful.
Like the last time that I had any kind of consistent remixes coming out was probably 2012. That's not even an exaggeration. It's been like 7 years. At one point, people felt that these remixes were worthwhile to make because you could get lots of notoriety and attention on YouTube for doing them. You know, you put out a remix of mine, I would favorite it on my YouTube page, feature it on my YouTube page, you end up getting 30, 40, 50,000 views because of it, and then your channel would get popular and you could do your own original stuff and things. And then basically YouTube destroyed the whole system.
Is he saying that he was a kingmaker? And that if he put anything on his channel that would make other people hot? If that was the case, then why did... If that was the case, and this is just in a very superficial type way, I'm being petty as fuck right now. Why is it that Respect the Pack didn't get hot? Or why didn't John or Howard's stuff get hot? If you were if all you had to do was pump if all you had to do was pump and or basically publicize anybody's works on your channel, then why didn't any of those guys get big? And supposedly those guys are your friends. So you would think you would have promoted their stuff. Oh boy, I'm real confused now. Things are starting to get a little crazy now.
Where a YouTuber could actually highlight a video and change the way that channel pages worked, and people would make remixes and I would try to get them featured and no one would be able to see them, and therefore people stopped doing it. And that was a long time ago, you know. It would be great if people were to make and submit some new remixes for me. I would love, like you said, the hitboxes are not correct here from Mario Maker 2. I would love to do that. I think that would be actually be pretty fun. But, you know, I can't really do much. If people don't make them, I can't use them. I certainly don't have the skill to do them. Now you're saying I should do a competition. That's great, but what's the competition for? I can't give anything away. I have nothing to give away. You know, I don't have any money to buy anything. I don't have anything to give away as a reward.
Really? So, what about all those one-up boxes or loot crates that are in the Nook, where you took what you wanted out of it and then you left the rest of them in there? Why don't you do that? Why don't you take a little bit of each one of those boxes, which he has a bunch of them. They're like literally stacked to the ceiling, and put those together and then ship it off to someone in the United States, for example. Because, you know, international prices, it's going to cost them like $200 to send it to you if you're overseas, allegedly. Why not do something like that? Just so people have some incentive, just to show that you care and you appreciate what they did. And you can't say you don't have anything because you're a fucking hoarder and you have all that shit in the Nook that could be given away in some way, shape, or form.
So, I really realistically don't even know you know, what I would do in that regard as some kind of a reward system for it, which sucks. I would love to, you know, you're right. That's kind of a cool incentive to get people to maybe do it, but I don't know even what I would do. So, oh no, I'm not going to be using the, extension for Borderlands 3 because I actually found out what it was, and I found out that what it is people can name enemies however they want, based on a Twitch name, so people could make Twitch names that are incredibly insulting to myself or my wife, and then name enemies after them to try to get at me during the stream. Or, from what I understand, also there's a way that they could basically spam and make it unplayable and incredibly difficult. So, I'm not doing it. It's a waste of everybody's time. I'm not stupid. That's why everyone was screaming for it. That's why everyone was saying, are you going to do the extension? Because the trolls wanted me to use it so they could troll, so fuck you. I can't even see my teammates. There we go. Yeah, we suck. Compared to them, we're terrible. By the way, you notice everyone only plays on this map? What the fuck?
Target down.
This is fucking stupid.
Down.
It really is. In fact, I'm done with this. I don't want to play. I don't want to play on this map another time. Every time I play arcade, same map, same camping gameplay every time. So if I play this again, and I get the same.
Now, when we started this clip, he had $1. Now he's up to $1.53, and yeah, he's throwing a fit. Who cares? Just play it out. You got paid $153. Just play this shit out. What happened to all that positivity we had in the last clip? You know what, guys? You know what I'm saying? I'm loving all this positivity, man. It feels good. And you know what? Now I'm starting to get that groove back. I'm starting to get that vibe back. I'm ready for fun stuff. I hope you guys are ready too. He can't even fake that no more. And he surpassed the tip goal. And this is how we're gonna act. Just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, no good deed goes unpunished.
Map the same shit again. I'm not playing this anymore. I'm only gonna play horde mode. It's not fun. That's just not fun at all. We all just camp on the edge. We all do exactly the same campy shit, and we play the same map over and over and over. I don't want to do that. If you want to do that, play classic mode, which is supposed to be the competitive one. Why are you playing arcade mode? Arcade mode is supposed to be the fun mode where there's variety of gameplay. You buy different weapons. Instead, they've turned it into garbage. So if it's like this again, I'm never playing it again. I'm serious. If I get the same shit one more time, I'm done with it. I'm totally done with it. I never want to play on training grounds ever fucking again, ever. Why are these morons pick it every fucking time?
Yes, Phil, because calling them morons is gonna make them see the world the way you see it. Yeah, that's I don't understand the whole like the unnecessary. I mean, I guess it's never really necessary to insult someone to try to get your point across, but I never really understood why, even though I do that myself. I don't understand why he does it the way he does it. He does it the way he does it? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Delete your comment. Well, let me read your comment first and then delete your comment. But I never understood why he does that. Like, it doesn't help you. Because if any of them were able to speak back to him, he would curl up into a fucking ball and just shut his mouth. You don't like the map, fine, but why call the people who do like it idiots? Because you're not good at it or you don't like it. And why the fuck did you need to see your teammates' stats to know that you guys suck? When in actuality, you're probably one of the biggest deficits on the team anyway. It's not like you out here literally backpacking the fucking team and everybody else is the one that's faltering. It didn't happen that way. It almost never does.
Last attempt for the night. Yeah, loading map. What map is he? It better not be fun. That's it. I'm done. That's it. What that tells me is literally the people who play this game are boring as fucking dirt, and they're all try-hard competitive players. Well, I only play on. It's just like fucking Smash. I only play on Final Destination 1v1, no items, no anything. So
don't be competitive in a competitive game. Excuse me. Okay. Nope. I guess that makes sense. In some alternate universe.
On training grounds, same exact gameplay, every fucking game over and over. Well, fuck you, then it's not fun. You know? That's shitty as hell. If you try to play the multiplayer of the game, you play the same map every fucking time. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. And quite frankly, Coalition should do something about it. They should make it so that, yeah, maybe there's a mode where it's competitive and you pick the same map every time, but there's another mode where it's always a variety of maps, a variety of stuff. Not people just vote the same map every time and it ends up being the same game over and over. So, I definitely like,
if you took a few minutes to actually, or take a couple of games since you've been playing on that mode nonstop, excuse me, and certainly on that map nonstop, maybe if you took some time to learn the fucking map, you'd do a little better. You ever thought about that? That ever register at all to you? Maybe? Probably not.
That's right. Final Destination, only Fox, no items. Exactly. That's a, if you're a competitive player and you want to play in tournaments, okay. I'm not. Let me play for fun. No, not allowed. Well, then I'm not playing at all then. If I can't play the game for fun and everyone has to be a try-hard competitive player online, that I don't care and I'm not going to play it at all.
Is that right? Is that why you quit Street Fighter 5? Just wondering.
This doesn't even make sense. Jackal scowled at 100-bit chair said, "What do you think about stupid haters that say because you make $6,000 a month, you don't even more tips?" First of all, I don't know what that means. I don't even more tips.
You don't need any more tips, and you know what the fuck it meant. Like, you know what the fuck it meant. And this is coming from someone who does that a lot, especially on fucking Twitter, because I need a goddamn edit button. I'm not afraid to say it.
Do you mean like I don't ever need any more tips? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, the thing that I've said a million times, okay, is very simple. Just, oh wait, you can look, I can put ice blocks in here. I guess I can put ingredients in there to make tea. It looks like you can make tea with this ice block. Yeah, but I don't know how. Interesting. Okay, look, we're gonna make honeyed ham. I think we'll put honey and ham together. Maybe it'll be like honey beef or something. I don't know. But anyway, first of all, no one actually knows what I make. The bottom line is no one has any idea. Everyone tries to guess. Everyone tries to guess based on what they see happen in the chat. You know, they sit there, oh, let me add this and add that and add this and add that, and it doesn't necessarily equate to being an accurate number. You don't know how much, sadly, you don't know how much PayPal keeps the transaction. You don't know who tries to charge stuff back and where I get when. You know, it's all speculations. People are completely wrong 9 times out of 10 when they try to estimate what I'm making, okay? A lot of people completely overestimate it. It's hilarious. But no, the thing is, it doesn't even matter how much I make. I can be making $1 million a month, but if I have debt, that means that $1 million gets pissed away to paying payments on things like loans and credit cards. It doesn't matter how much I'm making at all. And that's the thing. People are hung up on how much someone makes, not understanding that's not how life works. Just because you make a certain amount of money in a certain month doesn't mean that that much money that you now have freed up to do whatever you want with, and magically you can go and be frivolous and spend it on all kinds of crazy shit. That's not the case at all, but people are stupid because most of the kids who criticize someone like me or other content creators, right, who have a public presence on stream, don't know that because they're kids who don't have debt, who don't have houses, who don't have a credit card, they don't have any of that. So to them, oh, that's just free money. If I made that kind of money, I'd be filthy fucking rich and rolling in dough. Like, yeah, but I have all these financial responsibilities that I have to live up to every single month. I don't have money that I just pocket and keep and spend on frivolous shit. All that money goes right to bills, and I don't ever see any of it. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, though, is he used to live that way, where he could just put everything on the credit card and just set it and forget it, and didn't give a shit and spend it on a bunch of frivolous bullshit to his heart's content. Oh, but now all of a sudden it came to bite him in the ass, so now everybody else should know better? The fuck are you talking about? And he got, and keep in mind, he got himself into massive debt twice. One, so he could try to make himself a name in the FGC and failed miserably. And then the second time on YouTube.
That's ridiculous. So, it's just stupidity. It's ignorance, and it's essentially people just trying to find yet another way to talk shit about me so they can say that, oh, look how much money what Phil might make, and he doesn't deserve anything, and stupid shit like that. And it's just dumb shit, and I really don't pay attention to it anymore because I know it's dumb, it's just dumb, and it's uninformed people, but that's the thing. People sadly are dumb and they believe it. Oh, really? Phil makes a ridiculous amount of money every month? He must piss all that away every single month. Why would, no one should contribute. It's like, what are you talking about? You have no idea how much I actually make. You have no idea how much I'm responsible for paying every month. And the truth is, every month I don't have enough to even pay my bill. As I'm telling you guys, my bank account's been overdrawn more often than not. So I don't know where the hell they think this money is fucking magically going. Idiots. Idiots who just want to talk shit. Bottom line is they're going to talk shit no matter what. Yeah, I would talk to you guys if you guys were addressing me, but you're not, because now you got people, oh, he's not talking to stream chat. Here we go again, the same as earlier today when I was playing Borderlands. No one was talking to me. Yeah, people complain, trolls, oh, Phil's not interacting. You gotta talk to me. That's not how it works. Jal Sculpture said, you said chat doesn't talk to you. Why don't you try engaging chat? Talk to us, ask us questions, entertain us. You're the streamer. That's not how it works. Why would I want to ask you questions? I'm the person who's playing a game. Do you have questions about the game? Do you have questions about my schedule? Do you have questions about things I'll be doing? Why would the person ask you questions? How does that even make any sense? That's like... That's anyone else does a live stream, and tons of people have things to ask them and talk to them. I have to make up questions to ask my audience. Okay, I'm sure that's how it works, Jackal style.
I mean, that is interaction, though. It's a two-way street. Obviously, you can't make up anything, right? So why don't you ask them something? Ask them about a subject that you saw on Twitter, because that's where you get all your information from anyway, and try to start a conversation. Other streamers do that shit all the time. But you wouldn't know because you don't watch other streamers. Or what you do watch is how much money they make. But you don't actually see the process you never saw the process on how that money was actually made. You never saw that interaction. Literally, Phil Burnell wants to be paid on Twitch to exist. That's it. That's literally all he wants. He doesn't want to be paid to play video games. He doesn't want to be paid to be a fucking streamer or a variety streamer or whatever nonsense he goes by. He wants to be paid to exist. He exists, and that should be enough for you. If he talks to you, that's a bonus. But the thing is about that bonus is you have to pay for that. You have to pay for him to interact with you. Most streamers don't act that way. I mean, thoughts do, but they're thoughts. That's what you expect. But Jesus Christ, most people don't carry on streams like that. That's silly. And there's nothing wrong with taking the audience's temperature about certain things to have something to play off of. But Phil wants you guys just to carry the day all together. And then you hear these compilations of him crying and complaining about how no one wants to interact with me. No one's really talking to me right now. Stream's kind of slow, guys, and not a lot of contributions. And all you guys are talking about some stupid shit that I don't know anything about. It's kind of depressing. Yeah, guys, I'm streaming here got about an hour left, and none of you guys are really saying anything. And just wondering what's going on tonight. I guess you guys don't really like the game. You guys have all heard that pitter-patter bullshit. You guys have all heard that pitter-patter bullshit. But he doesn't feel the need, but he shouldn't have to ask you questions because that's not what the ebb and flow is when it comes to streaming. Like, he knows what the fuck streaming is.
Okay. The whole point of a live stream that you're attending is that you're supposed to find the streamer entertaining and want to interact with them. Not the other way around. The truth of the matter is I do enjoy interacting with you guys, but usually it's you guys, directing what you want to talk about, not me. Every once in a while, yeah, I'll have something I want to talk about, but outside of maybe a few times I'm playing a game. My job is to play the game, enjoy the game, have fun, and share that experience with you and react to what you talk to me about. Not also while I'm playing the game, now come up with 20 topics of discussion. Why am I playing the game then? Might as well turn the game off and we'll do here. We'll close the game and we'll just talk all night. And I'll just think of topics of discussion, right? I mean, that's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. But that's what I mean. People want to be critical and they want to say that I'm a bad streamer. Go fuck yourself. Okay. An anonymous $5 tipper just asked me, do I miss the days of 13 million YouTube views per month? You were able to lease a BMW and buy statues and go to MagFest, too many games. Do you miss your financial freedom? Alright. Honest answer. Do I miss having financial freedom and not having crazy amounts of pressure on me constantly of how I'm going to pay bills every month? How can I pay taxes? What's going to happen to my future? Yes. However, my personal life today is way better than it was back then. Back then, like, I was single, I was living alone, I didn't have much interaction with anyone but, say, like, Rambo once a week when he came over to do co-op with me or whatever. I was working my ass off in a little, dark condo, playing video games all day long by myself. I didn't have social interaction with anyone because it was offline recording and uploading to YouTube. I was very unhealthy. I ate incredibly unhealthy.
You still really don't have a lot of interaction. Like, from a person-to-person standpoint, he really doesn't have anybody. Even though Catherine lives there, she lives there, but she's not there, if that makes sense. Like, he still doesn't have any interaction. His Twitch, this whole Twitch nonsense mirrors YouTube. The only difference is he's obligated to talk to people now. So even when Phil's talking to you, unless it's a talking point that he wants to bring up, he's not really there either. It's all autopilot. It's literally it is literally all autopilot. He's not even there. He's just throwing out answers just to throw them out. Unless you figure out what one of his triggers are, then it turns into a whole situation in itself. That's how gold dust happens. But other than that, you're just digging in the dirt to see what sticks. And he'll throw you weak-ass answers to pretty much complement that. You get out of it what you put in it, if that brings that to task a little better.
I drank way too much. Like, my life back then was personally really fucking fucked up, but financially was great. Now today, it's the opposite. Today, my personal life is amazing. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got a cat. I've got a nice house. I got things that I love. I love my life here, but now I'm in financial distress. It's like, I couldn't have both, right? I couldn't have both at the same time. You either have one good thing or the other good thing, and then everything else is messed up. That's kind of how it's always been in my life. I don't think I've ever had a moment in my life.
You weren't willing to work for it. You expected everything to just fall into your lap. And then on top of that, you were willing to settle. You were willing to settle. That's what it is. And you deserve what you get. And now you have to sit there and pretend like you're happy. You have to pretend like you're successful. You have to pretend like things are going well. And it's clear that it isn't.
Where, like, everything was at a high. You always had a balance. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that's life. Maybe that's what life really is making the best out of the positives that you have at the time, right? Rather than saying, oh man, financially everything sucks ass right now, and ignoring all the good things I have around me, focusing on the good things I have around me. You see what I mean?
You're 37 years old and you're kind of just now coming to this conclusion. Most people figure that out in their teens. Holy shit. Wow, society failed you, Phil. Like, if you really, really think about it, society failed him. And this is pre-YouTube, I would have to say. Because if at his age you haven't figured that out yet, then, I mean, I don't really know what to say to you, to be honest. I mean, yeah, you can learn, you should be learning something new every day, but that right there should just come on happenstance. You should know that not everything in life is going to work out well for you. It's just what it is. That doesn't mean everything's going to fucking completely collapse and shit. You're going to be fucking destitute or anything, but not everything's going to work out the way you plan. You do the best that you can to work towards whatever your goals are. If it falls apart, it falls apart. Life don't stop. So it's not like, oh, well, I already planned for something once. Now I'm going to give up on it and that's it. I'm just going to just exist. That's what Phil Burnell does. But for everybody else, there's real fucking life. And at the end of the day, sun's going to come up the next day, if you're lucky. Sun's going to come up the next day. Bills are going to be due. And you're going to have shit that needs to be done. Whether for school, work, or whatever, or what have you. But maybe that's life? See, this is the reason why people make the argument that back in Phil's day, handing out participation trophies was a stupid idea. That's kind of why. Coddling your kids back in Phil's day probably wasn't a very good idea. Hence the reason why Phil is the way he is now. Just something to think about.
And also, for me, I always have to have a belief that things are going to get better. Like, I have to believe that no matter what, eventually things will hopefully get better financially. Even though they're awful right now, I have to have a positive feeling that I'm going to find a way out of it. Because if I don't, then, you know, you're kind of defeated. You feel depressed. You feel messed up. And I don't want to do that. I want to feel that eventually one day I'll get out of the situation I'm in. So thank you for the anonymous $5 tip. What college did I go to? Fairfield University. And trust me, everyone's confirmed that because people actually contacted my college asking if I really went there and if I graduated and shit. And my college was like, what the fuck are you like contacting us for? You know, who the hell are you? And they're like, oh, we're just an interested party. People like didn't believe that I had a college degree. They did the same thing with high school too. They contacted my high school asking if I was really the valedictorian or if I completely made it up. Bunch of fucking assholes. Is it a Catholic college? What was it? I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was a Jesuit.
Yeah, probably. You don't know what that is? You don't know what that is? You don't remember that nurse, well, not a nurse, it was a nun, but this is when he was younger, that you were obsessing about? Matter of fact, I think you said that you gave her perfume or something. I can't remember if it was like a gift for her birthday or the holidays or some shit. Where'd you get the money for that? And why would you give another woman something that you probably wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't be willing to give to your own mother? Especially at that age. You ever thought about that, Phil? It's crazy stuff there.
College, which is based on Catholicism, or it's like a division of Catholicism. I don't even know because I didn't really practice anymore by the time that I had gone there, so I wasn't really paying attention to any of that stuff, you know? I know they had a church or whatever, a chapel that you could go to. I never went. Money Equals Happiness asks, if I never got laid off, do I think I would still be at my office job running the place, or would you have quit eventually when you got big on YouTube? The office, I would not be at the office job because the place went out of business. After they laid me off, they laid a bunch of other people off, including my dad. Then they laid off a ton more. Then they basically outsourced all the work, and the whole place doesn't exist anymore. So if I stayed at the office job, I would be out of a job right now. So it's funny the way things work out. Yeah. My dad is trying to...
Yeah, it's kind of funny how he says that narrative, because isn't that the same thing that happened with Blip TV, too? He did his Nazi... he did his rendition of Howard Stern's Nazi whatever. He ends up getting kicked off, and then like 5 years later, Blip TV, or maybe not even 5 years, a couple years later, Blip goes down the drain, too. It's funny how he has those coincidental situations. It's kind of interesting how that worked out.
Towards not having to work anymore. Like, he's hoping the next couple of years he'll be able to fully retire. He really wants to, but sadly, because of the way things worked out, he couldn't yet. Good, I got out. I got the fuck out.
Well, yeah, he's gonna probably have to work for the rest of his life because his fuck up son can't figure out, oh, I don't know, just how to handle his responsibilities. Your father allegedly has 2 herniated discs in his back, and yet he's out there putting in, I would assume, at least 40 or 50-hour weeks. His asshole piece of shit son, who only, and key word here, only works, what, maybe 6 or 7 hours a day? Sits there and plays video games and doesn't add anything to anything. What is, if you really think about it, how many hours does Phil work a week? If you really think about it. What, 35? Maybe 42? Maybe? If you cut the pre-streams and bullshit out, because his job, ladies and gentlemen, is playing games. Not sitting there talking about bullshit that he really don't know about. So we're talking about, you know, what? You're talking roughly... You're talking about 6-hour days, maybe? I want to be a dick and say 5.5, but it's really probably 6. So we're talking about, what, 36 hours a week? Maybe? So he puts in less time and less effort into what he does than his own father does, and yet he expects his mother and father to come through and pay him money each week and or each month so he can keep doing what he's doing, and yet he's sitting here telling us, well, his father wants to retire, but he can't because he has to keep basically lugging money over to this idiot. Damn.
You know, in reality, the real reason that my dad hasn't been able to retire yet is it's not because, oh my god, I'm in debt up to my eyeballs.
Damage control.
I have to keep working to pay or nothing. Like, everything they own, my parents own, is they own outright. The car, the house. The problem is, you know, they're older now. They have a lot of healthcare costs. The older you get, you have more health problems. You gotta go to the doctor a million times. And the fucking American healthcare system is so messed up. They pay out the ass. Even though they have good health insurance, they still pay out the ass for healthcare. So if my dad stopped working, they wouldn't be able to afford the healthcare. That's what he's trying to figure out ways, you know, figuring it out over the next couple of years. So, anyway, continuing what this anonymous tipper was saying, they have so much time on their hands. What's next? They're gonna call and see how much your mortgage is. Well, that they can't do. Luckily, financial stuff you can never get information on unless you can prove it.
I mean, we really kind of don't have to because you already told us what his mortgage payment was. You must be late to the party. It's okay. Drinks are over there. Party favors are over there. But yeah, we kind of already know what he's paying for his mortgage, not just on his house in Connecticut or condominium or townhouse, however you want to word it, but also his condominium back in Connecticut too. So it's not like we're not on the pulse of that. And like I said, he divulged all of that on his own. You give him enough rope and he'll hang himself. It's a tried and true statement that'll never get old. If I left tomorrow, people will at least remember that. So, and that right there helps the overall. That's not to the vanity of one person. That right there is an overall statement that anybody can apply. Anybody can apply to it, I should say. Womp womp.
Identity. All these places have safeguards in place. Like, I have secondary passwords and the like, so no one could just call a mortgage company or call a credit card or call and say, I'm Phil Burnell and I live at this address and I want information on my mortgage. They wouldn't be able to do that. They need to actually have you know, concrete information to do that stuff. So that I'm not worried about. But they have done fucked up stuff. I'll give you an example. So one time, this is a true...
Right. Before he goes into this, one, he shouldn't say stuff like that because you're kind of putting out a challenge. And if there's a will, there's a way. First off and foremost, plenty of people have been impersonated as to have their personal information put out there. You're not special. So you shouldn't do that. Because there's always going to be at least one person who's going to be like, challenge accepted. That's how they found you in, that's how they found him when he moved to Washington. He said no one was going to find him. He was in a gated community, yada, yada, yada. Didn't take long. He said that Catherine had no fucking, no online personality, no ambitions for anything. She had no track record on the internet. She had no footprint. The moment he put her picture out on Instagram, we found her in like, well, people found her in like 15, 20 fucking minutes. Crazy type of shit. Like, you're not... You can't keep goading people along like that and be like, nah, you can't beat me. You can't do that. The internet as a whole is always up for the challenge. Don't do it. At least in my opinion.
Story. One time, I accidentally left my utilities bill out on a countertop in one of the videos that I filmed. I don't remember if it was the top of my desk here in my office or if it was downstairs. I left a bill out. They called that company, impersonated me, and told them to shut off my power. Now, luckily for me, when that happens, you get a notification about it. I got an email immediately saying, we have processed your request to shut off your power. It will go in effect in 3 days. I was like, what? So I immediately called them. I said, I don't know what you people are doing, but, you know, no, I didn't do this, and you basically are threatening my business by doing it. You got to clear this up. So, of course, then they realized that their system was inferior, and they put in a note, oh, you know, we can't have this ever happen again and stuff like that.
You're still an idiot, because they have there's a reason why there was a 3-day clause. There's a reason why they sent you an email and or they would have called you to confirm. So even when the request is put in, they're still going to wait a couple days before and then call you back just to make sure. It's not like you're a special fucking snowflake. They'll do that for anybody. Because plenty of people have tried to turn off other people's electricity or utilities or whatever the case may be. And they all go through it the exact same way. If someone was to impersonate him again, the same thing would happen. It's not like it's never going to happen again. Like that alleged swatting that he had, which wasn't a swatting. It was probably a wellness check or some shit. Because he said when he moved to... when he moved to Washington, that he contacted his local police, let them know what his situation was, and so they were, if you will, they were already on the payroll, so to speak. That's why they didn't fucking kick his door down like they did with Wings, and they got on the loudspeaker or on the bullhorn and asked them to come out. He didn't get swatted. It was more than likely just a wellness check.
How fucked up that is. So if I didn't know, if I didn't get the email, one day I might have been sitting here and just everything turns off. And I would have called them like, what's going on?
What do you mean if you didn't get the email? They probably tried to call you too, idiot. They don't just email you, they call you also. Shit, some of them will even send you a letter. Or at least send you some type of notification. Like some, paper notice, I should say. You've never moved before? They do the same thing when you turn off your fucking utilities and shit when you're moving. If you didn't show up in person, I should say.
Oh, you told us to turn your power on. We'll turn it back on. Oh, well, it takes 3 days to process that. So I sit with no power for 3 fucking days? What if it was the winter? I'm freezing my ass off, right? It's fucked up. This is the things people do.
Wait a second. Didn't last winter, or the winter before Catherine showed up, didn't you say that you were so broke that you couldn't turn the heat on? And so that's why you had to wear, long sleeve shirts and everything? So you kind of know what it's like to not have heat during the winter because you were so broke. Are we gonna sit there and redo the story again, Phil? That's okay. Pepperidge Farm remembers. I remember.
Messed up stuff, man. Why would anyone request their power to be shut off? Because what if you're moving? What if you're moving, say, out of this house into another, and you know no one's going to live here for a while? You don't want to keep paying the power bill, so you could shut it off. Alright, guys. Thank you very much. Now, for those of you on stream, I just finished recording for YouTube. Thank you guys for all of your support tonight, especially to the top contributors. We had Freddie B, who was the 200-bit cheer, and, of course, ATS 318 with the $10 tip. And to everyone who contributed tonight, thank you. It was on the slower side. If you want my honest opinion, I think people have to get used to me playing this game again. It's been almost a month, and there were a lot of people who liked watching me play it, but I think they have to get used to it being part of the rotation again. And then maybe we'll start to see more people show up and more people contribute as well. So there you go. Bane of Modern Warfare. Pretty good, around 6 hours. Pretty interesting.
Oh, crazy stuff. All right, guys. That right there is another thing that I'm trying to... that I might get into at a later time, because I heard that shit was kind of entertaining. So let's see here. Damn, dude. Trying to. Bam. All right, guys. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Okay, so I mean, that was nonsense. That was absolute fucking nonsense. I wish I had done that video sooner, to be honest with you. I wish I had done that video sooner. We had it written down and shit, but I never got a chance to actually hit it. I wish I had hit that shit a lot sooner. That shit was just a cornucopia of just silly shit. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to actually approach that, to be honest. Just ignorant shit all the way around. That's really all that was. From the whole joke situation to his financial situation to raising kids on the internet, just preposterous bullshit. Just absolutely just nonsense. That was absolutely amazing stuff. I don't know what else to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And we'll just continue trucking on through. That shit was crazy. That shit was really, really crazy. We'll start, there's a few more older videos I want to get into, and then we'll get back into the standard Snort report and whatnot. And then, like I said, I got some holiday plans coming up, so that should be cool. Just crazy stuff, ladies and gentlemen, crazy stuff. But thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll see you guys for the next broadcast, whenever that may be, hopefully sooner or later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News, always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on at GTG Network and Productions. For the Snort Report, I am your host, /anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, guys. That's some crazy shit, man. Wild! The raising kids thing on the internet was nuts. That was crazy. Like, that overshadows, I think, the racist part. Or the thing about racist jokes, but you can't laugh about gout and shit. I think that right there was a gem that I think people slept on. That's insane. I would never think of myself that highly to fucking do that. That's crazy. I don't think anybody would. Well, very few people would, I should say. Wild. Alright, guys. It's wild, guys. Shit. Alright, guys. I'll see you guys for the next broadcast. Take care of yourselves.